Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Romantasy Roundtable, a tale of Rick and Roses. My name is Rick, and I'm joined by Roses.
Amanda.
And Kim.
And as always, we'd appreciate it if you consider liking this video. Please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. You don't have to listen. You can just subscribe. It's really all I care about.
No, we want you to listen.
Yeah,
we want you to listen.
I'd appreciate if you listen, but I'd love a subscribe. And drop us a comment down in the wherever you're listening to, either Spotify or YouTube. While we're talking, I'll see if we have any YouTube comments. I haven't been on this week, but there we go. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
And if you're watching, I have a reveal. We've been yapping for a while, but I realized I haven't revealed that Socket has been behind me this whole time.
Oh,
you see her? Socket.
Oh my goodness! If you're watching, the adorable face that is Socket, and the softest ears.
She has the softest ears.
I love about Socket also.
Is it cake, though?
Cake? Is Socket cake? No,
yes.
She's a dog.
Oh.
I only like the first season of Is It Cake.
Why?
After that, they started eliminating people, and I thought it was better when they didn't eliminate people.
I love a good elimination.
Yeah, but I liked that it was like the one show that didn't do that. Because they all just like stuck around and cheered each other on, and I thought it was really cute.
Don't they still stick around and cheer each other on?
I don't know. I got halfway through the second season and was like, I don't like that they eliminated each other, and then I didn't keep watching.
Oh. No, I like eliminations. It's fun.
I like eliminations, but I think it's like one of those shows that like I can only watch one of.
You're like, wow.
And then like 6 months later, I'm like, maybe I'll try that again. And it's like, oh, it's still the same.
It's cake.
It's still cake or not cake.
It is cake.
Except when it's not cake.
Yeah.
You know? It's cake when it's not cake.
Yeah.
And then that guy from SNL goes and cuts a shoe.
Because it was cake.
Okay, we had no comments, I'm assuming, because otherwise Rick would have let us know.
Yes, no comments. And
all right.
Since Amanda has to go, we have to go quick because whenever I want to go, she decides to go slow. What? Go ahead. Talk with that face.
Why did the notes take so long today?
I don't know.
Happened?
Splitting the chapters was annoying, and then Gemini was, I don't know, just really struggling today. So I had to do it like 10 times.
Wow.
Yep. All right. So since you have to go, let's do I don't know, two chapters at a time.
I don't have I just go.
I'm just saying, because if we talk about each chapter, that's like, you know what? Go ahead. Do whatever you want. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I always do.
Yeah. And we notice.
Like, theoretically, I'll do 2 chapters, but like, we'll just do it. We'll talk about the ones we need to talk about. We're reading Queen of Shadows, by the way. That's the book we're reading. And we're starting at chapter 53. And listeners should know that Rick and I have been fighting all week, and nobody knows why.
Yeah, and this is my role in this fight of just sitting here silently.
And that's how I feel when Mary and Rick fight. We have a Mary's missive. Damn it. Okay. Chapter 53. The demon prince, currently squatting in Dorian's body, is having a grand old time in the Rifthold dungeons, treating prisoner despair like a top-shelf narcotic. He is literally inhaling their trauma and learning to love the taste of absolute misery, which is officially the worst kind of emotional vampirism. Dorian is trapped inside, hating every second of this birth and death cycle, while hoping for a chance to finally end the nightmare. It is a dark, intoxicated eternity down there, and the prince is quickly becoming a connoisseur of human sorrow. Chapter 54. Manon gets a summons to Oakwald Forest for a high-stakes meeting with the King of Adarlan, unaware that her matron is basically ghosting her messages about the Volg horrors. Meanwhile, Aelin is busy hoarding nuts and water under her bed like a survivalist squirrel, plotting to hitch a ride out of Morath the second Manon leaves. Deep in the shadows, Kaltain has rebranded herself as Death, Devourer of Worlds, and is snack-size eating the demon prince inside her with her hidden shadow fire. She's biding her time in a wordstone collar, waiting for the perfect moment to howl her wrath at the moon. My notes for this chapter just say, holy shit, Kaltain.
Yeah, wow.
This was such a reveal.
Yeah, she was talking to Aelin, right?
Well, it's like we get at the end of the chapter, we're in a Kaltain perspective, and it's basically just like the demon's been dead for a long time.
Yeah. And it's just the way she did it. It was like she's like, I hid, and it made it think that it got me, and I slowly started picking at it until I was the demon. I was like, oh my god,
it's crazy,
incredible.
I think we'll talk about this later, but I think Kaltain is like the most fascinating character. I said this via text to both of you, like the Mossverse is not kind to women, and so women are not kind to the Mossverse. Like that is the theme of the end of this book.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. Chapter 55. Evangeline crashes into the warehouse sobbing because Arobyn's ghost reached out from the grave to out Lysandra as a shapeshifter to the king's men. That's not what happened. That's like being facetious. But, Arobyn is still playing 4D chess even though he's dead. And one of the things that he left behind was that he told the king's men that Lysandra is a shapeshifter. Lysandra's been snatched, and Aelin is about 10 seconds away from a total breakdown, thinking about her friend being fed to Volg princes. The crew learns of an Oakwalled Forest meeting between the king, a possessed Dorian, and the 13, and they decide to ambush it immediately. Kale promises a never again moment, trying to prove he's finally worth his salt in a crisis. There is a moment in this chapter where Rowan and Aelin are communicating telepathically, and Adian like reacts to it.
Yeah, he's like, "You need to stop doing that."
Well, that happened earlier, but this one, I think he's like openly communicating with them in the telepathy.
Oh,
I don't remember how, but he like responds in some way.
Because it's not telepathy; they're just making faces at each other.
Yeah, they're just doing.
I think they all
very expressive faces.
Mm-hmm. I think they all have a secret brain Fae language that all the Fae are telepathic to each other.
I do want to give it. I do want to give out a shout out to our super fan Melody, who I saw yesterday. Hi Mel, hope you're doing good. To answer your question, Mel? Did I have anything like fun happen on my ride home yesterday? No, I didn't. But I stopped by back at work to use the bathroom, and I saw Amanda.
I'm sitting on the steps. I was chaperoning the school dance. I'm sitting on the steps. I'm drinking my coffee. It is 5:00, and Rick appears. And I was like, I'm sorry, you live in a different state than where we are right now, and the bell rang an hour and a half ago. What are we doing? And he was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And I was like, what now? And that is when I remembered that we had a happy hour at work that I didn't get to attend.
It was pretty good.
And so Rick got to hang out with me and consume all of my sorrows because I was anxious.
Yeah, I guess, Mel, you said, like, I hope something unexpected happens to you. It wasn't unexpected for me. It was unexpected for you. I knew I was going to see you.
You knew I was going to be, but I didn't know I was going to be there. I thought I was going to be at Swallow, but they didn't have the outdoor seating out.
But Mel I don't know if she's reading this series, but she did start Direbound. She's ready for Direbound. She's getting ready. Yeah. So there we go. All right, you can continue.
Okay. My other note for chapter 55 says, all of our friends are coming together. I love when my friends are friends. Chapter 56. While hiding out in a cheap inn, Aelin and Rowan share a lumpy bed and some legendary tension that makes the downstairs tavern noise seem peaceful. Rowan offers to prove her wrong about her insecurities, later using words or, quote, teeth and tongue, which is the kind of smutty promise we live for. That's accurate. Gemini did a good job. The group marks their maps for the Temple of Themis, preparing word marks for protection against the king's lethal Volg vibes. Rowan ends the night by dunking a pitcher of cold water over himself, which is the only reasonable reaction to Aelin scratching her nails across his collarbone. I loved that.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
In my living room, I have a spot in my living room where there is water damage from the apartment upstairs. And it was their dog knocked over his like giant water fountain. But that's what I thought about when I read the end of this chapter of him dunking the entire thing of water over him. I was like, that's going straight through the floor.
Right. She's literally like downstairs. She's falling asleep and she's like, and then I heard him get up and splash a whole pitcher of cold water on himself. I was like, I, I love it. I thought it was really funny. All right. 56. 56. All right. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. 56. The squad sneaks into Oakwald and spots the 13 lounging with their wyverns, including a scarred up Abraxos taking a flower nap.
Oh boy.
She says the smallest of them was sprawled on his belly, face buried in a mound of wildflowers. Aelin gets her first look at Manon Blackbeak, a moonlight-haired living weapon who looks as horrifying as she is gorgeous. The King of Adarlan rolls up with a prison wagon, and Dorian, who is rocking his wordstone collar and zero human emotions. Rowan reminds Aelin she's a matron slayer while they wait for the perfect moment to snatch their girl Lysandra back. We're talking about eye color a lot. It's an increasing amount, and I don't know which eye colors are important and which eye colors aren't important. And if you asked me to list everybody's eye colors, I don't think I would do it correctly.
There's only one that you really need to care about.
I don't want to know that. But they're really yapping about everybody's eyes. And it seems that everybody's, other than Rowan, everybody who is interesting has some kind of gold in their eyes. And so Kale's eyes in this chapter are described as bronze. And I was like, what is Homegirl's obsession with metallic eyes? That's my point. All right. Chapter 58. While the king and Blackbeak matron are distracted by a weapon in a painted wagon, Manon and a possessed Dorian engage in some seriously dark flirting. I wrote, there it is. Hello, Princeling. Hello, Witchling. I was thrilled. And then 2 lines later, we got, I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to. Which I'm pretty sure is like, Rick, where does that rank on your list of top book boyfriend lines?
I mean, it's top 3.
Along with 7 Gods and what's the third one?
I mean, I just threw top 3 out there. 7 Gods is probably 1. It's got to be 1. Right?
Longtime listeners will know what we're talking about, but that's from Quicksilver.
Yeah. There has to be another one that's up there.
Chair.
I don't think Good?
I was just saying the Zayd in my
house, my chair, my woman.
Yeah.
I don't think I like that one as much as you two did. That's like 4th for me.
Yeah, I think that one, I kind of think you gotta be a woman who's attracted to men to like that one as much.
I mean, no, I get it. I don't know. So, it's literally like 4th. It's like right there. Let me think about my other one.
Okay. I like the soupy ones and the romance ones are crossing over for me because like when I'm thinking about my favorite lines, there you are, I've been looking for you is really up there for me. But I know that that's not soup. That's, I don't know. That's like fated mate stuff.
Yeah.
Or also, I'm coming to the cottage.
I'm coming to the cottage is up there. I think.
Put your hands on the headboard.
With your hands on the headboard is up there. I think this happens in every book, but like get on your knees is always a good moment. Yeah, I don't know. I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to. Oh, good thing I fuck like a third year.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's
up there for you, yeah. I think. All right, we're distracted.
I had said this to Rick over text when we were rereading though, which is crazy to me in that somehow this like entire scene that's about to unfold, I completely forgot. Which I know, as Rick would say, it's a canon event. You know, it's like so seminal, and I didn't remember any of this. And so I was like, I knew that Manon and Dorian had crossed paths at some point.
Oh no!
But I couldn't remember how it happened. I couldn't remember any of this. And they, yeah.
To be Tumblr about it, they're Rick's OTP.
What?
Oh God. Okay. So on the internet, when
have you been there before, Rick? Have you ever?
Never heard of it.
When there's a fandom and there are 2 people that you want to be in a relationship, it's called shipping them.
Yes, got that.
And a person who ships them is a shipper.
Uh-huh.
And your top ship, the one that is the most special to you, is your OTP. It's your one true pairing.
Oh, okay.
So I think they're one of your OTPs. I don't know what your top OTP is, but
I love this game. We need to write this down. We got to play this at some point.
who you ship and who your OTP is?
Yeah, something like that.
For the record, my OTP is Ilya Rosanov and Shane Hollander.
What I loved about this part was like Dorian pulled out his inner like Carrion Swift, his inner Riddick. You know, he's possessed by a demon. He sees the most beautiful person in the world. He's like, "Hold on, Chief, I got this. Hang back for a second."
Got this. It's so good. This moment is so good. We have this like, we had forgotten who Dorian was initially, right? When we first meet him, he's a playboy. He's like, and so we see glimmers of Dorian from the first book, before he like really, it's like his front, but before he really like shows his inner self and his vulnerability, his magic, like all of those things, we're seeing like playboy, bachelor, crown prince. I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to.
Yeah.
It's so good. Meanwhile, he's fighting with a demon in his brine. And the demon,
who is afraid of Manon.
Yes.
The demon is afraid of Manon and says that she has the eyes of the Volg kings. So again, the eyes are important, but that's the most important bit.
And also his friends are watching this from afar and they're like,
what the fuck is
holy
going
shit.
on?
Right. They're like, what's going on? But they're also like, Dorian just said that and that sounded like Dorian.
Right. And so Rick, I talked to Rick about this in the elevator right after I read it. And Rick, I was like, and the power of love was strong enough to play. And he was like, that wasn't it. It was the eyes. And I was like, it could be both. Anyway, then I wrote, bye, Dorian. It was nice to see you again, because his dad shows up, and the proximity seems to... Whatever. All right. Aelin and Rowan pull off a high-stakes stealth rescue, picking the lock on the prison wagon and swapping a battered Lysandra for some dead guards. Manon gets a double strike of blue blood across her face from her grandmother for being insolent, which fuels her already lethal rage. The royals depart, but Kale pulls a disappearing act, leaving the rescue party wondering where their favorite brooding captain went. This fucking idiot.
Fucking Kale, man. Like, so stupid. Captain of the guard at some point? And doing the dumbest shit ever in this whole book, like throughout this entire book, just being.
I do not know how this man became captain of the guard.
Loyalty. This is him doing it again. Like,
right. I do. I mean, he is a lovable idiot. I'm not a Kale hater.
No, he's just stupid.
He's a fool. Yeah. I wrote, in this chapter, like we've already had like Kaltain is eating her demon. Now we've had Dorian has this moment where he is stronger than his demon. Later we learn about a time that the king is stronger than his demon. And so sort of my thought here was like, if the goal for the Volg is to like enslave the strongest of them, and like those of them that have magic, like that's a double-edged sword, right? Because they maybe don't realize how strong they are. And so each of these like very strong people has these moments where they are stronger than their demon. And I think that's really interesting. Chapter 59, Kale tries to go full assassin on the king, but accidentally runs into the 13 very amused witches and their wyverns instead. Aelin and the boys charge in, and the Queen of Terrasen officially reveals her witch killer status to Manon to get the party started. She uses a wordmark spell powered by Kale's blood to freeze the witches in place while they bolt for the Temple of Temis, not tennis. It's a chaotic dash over rickety bridges across toward a crumbling island with a very pissed off wing leader hot on their heels. This is cool because I love when two bad bitches recognize the bad bitchness in the other one. And so because we're getting their alternating perspectives, they're both like,
fuck this
wow,
bitch.
Fuck this bitch, but also
fucking
like, damn it, she can fight.
I respect you, and why is she so beautiful?
Right. It's like fucking bitch. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, chapter 60, the Temple of Temis becomes a crumbling war zone where Astrid accidentally hits Rowan's shoulder with an arrow meant for our queen. Aelin loses her fucking mind, cutting the bridge to trap the other witches and tackling Manon onto the vibrating stones. When the island starts falling into the river, Aelin decides, I'm glad that Gemini gave us this quote because I wrote it down, quote, sometimes the monsters need to look out for each other, and literally hauls Manon out from under the rubble. They leap off the bridge just as it snaps, leaving Manon with a life debt and a lot of confusing feelings. I said to Rick, this is like a video game where you have to beat the guy before you have to do the boss battle before the joins your party. Like, it's like you gotta fight his way into the squad.
Right.
You gotta tame him.
Two things. Number one, when you I feel that Aelin and the Boys is either the name of a rock band or a cartoon show like Josie and the Pussycats.
Aelin and the boys.
Yeah.
Long tails and ears for that.
I had told the both of you this. I told Kim this when I was reading it the first time, but I was like, I don't know if Aelin and Manon are ever gonna meet. It was a long shot. I was like, let's just play that game because it was a possibility, because like in Lord of the Rings, it's hard. Like we don't really realize it, but like fucking like Legolas and the blonde elf.
You keep saying that. This is like the third time you've said that.
I know.
In the film, they pronounce it Legolas.
Yeah, he's wrong. And like Frodo, they don't see each other. Right, Frodo, forever. And we don't realize that for the most part. So I was like, are they ever going to meet? And they meet in the best way.
Which is so funny because, sorry, I'm talking about Lord of the Rings now, which is so funny because the guys, like the actors who are the Fellowship of the Ring, are all really tight.
Yeah.
They have matching tattoos.
Yeah.
And so it's like really funny to me that they're all like besties when they filmed very few scenes together.
Yeah.
I love that they like can't go out in public without somebody catching them also. Like there's so many photos of them like all having dinner together or like sitting having a drink at a bar, which is lovely.
Yeah, I also is this like canon that whenever Ian McKellen is in a film that he just like everybody becomes his best friend because he and Patrick Stewart are really tight.
Mm-hmm.
That's Magneto and Professor X.
I was about to say it's because they're Magneto Professor X.
Yeah, so I saw Patrick Stewart on the street once. I think he lives in Park Slope, and all I wanted to do was like follow him to see if Ian McKellen was near.
Sir.
Well, they've been friends since they were like teens.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Sir
I wonder
Ian
if that,
McKellen.
I think that's why. Sorry, it's Sir Ian McKellen. I think it's Sir Patrick Stewart.
Sir Patrick Stewart, yeah.
It's just the professor.
Sir Professor
X.
Patrick X Stewart. Goats, all of them. Okay. Chapter 61. After a grueling trek through Oakwald with a dying Rowan Whitethorn, the squad finds refuge at a country house where Aelin Galathinius goes full protective mama bear, threatening to murder anyone who breathes wrong near her fae prince. That's true.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the midwife Marta patches up Rowan. Aelin reunites with a supersized Fleetfoot and shares a tense, starry-eyed moment with Kael Westfall, acknowledging that while they're both monsters, they're going to end the King of Adarlan together. Kael finally realizes he was a total fool for forever doubting her, but the bitter taste of disappointment remains as they prepare to head back into the shithole kingdom for their final stand.
I do like though that they gave her a little shit like why didn't you kill her? And they were like, and she was like, because of the way the other witch screamed.
Yeah, because of the way that Astrid screamed when Manon went down was the same way that Kael. Oh, she says it in a couple chapters, but she said, "How can I take away somebody who means the world to somebody else?"
Right.
I liked about this chapter is that like we talk so much about like fae men and their like possessiveness. And like aggression surrounding if someone comes at their women. And we get to see that in reverse as like Aelin does that here.
Touch him and die.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I
Love
appreciate
to see it. Chapter 62. Manon Blackbeak makes a grand bloody entrance on Abraxos to lie directly to the King of Adarlan, claiming she slaughtered the rebels to hide the fact that she owes Aelin a life debt. She spots Dorian Haviliard looking like a hollowed-out version of himself and realizes the king is building mirror towers to amplify Shadowfire, essentially creating a weapon for extermination. Manon is disgusted to find out the weapon isn't for a fair fight, but for a slaughter, and she begins to wonder what it's like for the prince to be trapped inside his own body. I am at capacity. I can no longer learn about towers and their triangulation and what they're doing. I was just like, I'm here for the vibes. I don't know how the mirror towers work, and I don't care.
Well, there's a whole book about a tower.
I was about to say that.
I know, but right now I am at capacity. I can no longer receive new information in this book. I'm out. I'm tapped out. I'm sure
Good news. You have about a month of a break, and then your brain can empty itself and get ready to be refilled with.
I said this in the last book. I had to forget a couple state capitals to learn what a Volg was. I'm just at a point in my life where I can't forget, the important street names that will help me navigate the city of Vienna in 2 weeks. So once I have done that, I can push that out of my brain, and then I'll be able to learn more about a new kind of fucking tower. To build fewer towers, these people. Okay. Chapter 63. Just as a lead lock-in tries to make a break for it with her tiny stash of food, her absolute creep of an uncle, which I think is an understatement, catches her in Manon's tower and cuts her arm just to see if she bleeds Blackbeak blood. She doesn't. He confirms she's a prize with a hybrid line of magic, slams her head into a wall, and hauls her down to a freezing, lightless dungeon. Alid realizes with heartbreaking clarity that no one is coming to save her, and she's left to rot in the dark by her uncle smugly leaves her to her fate. This sucks.
Yeah.
Chapter 64, in a massive emotional payoff, Astrid Blackbeak reveals her invisible wound to Manon. Yes, this is this chapter. Okay. A tragic history involving a human lover, a stillborn witchling, and the brutal unclean brand burned into her skin by the matron. Manon finally sees through her grandmother's lies, realizing that Astrid's wildness was just a way to outrun total despair, and she reinstates her cousin as second in a rare moment of soft-hearted rebellion. Fed up with the matron and the duke, the two witches decide to do something very stupid and head toward Rifthold. I loved this.
Yeah, Gemini didn't do a great job in the couple chapters before this, where Manon sees her grandmother again, and yes, her grandmother gave her the scars on her face.
She's such a dick to her,
right?
Yeah.
But Manon was basically like, "Haven't you been receiving my letters?" And the matron was like, "Yeah," and shut up.
Yeah,
and
she's like,
do
"Fuck
what I
your
told
letters."
you. Yeah. And yeah, it was basically like, get in line and do whatever the Duke tells you to do, because those are my commands also. And so I love that Astrid and the other 13 are finally like, no, you need to know all of the truth here, and why we're like advocating so hard to not have more people be given over a sacrifice to the Duke and the breeding of the Volk.
I'm going to do the thing where I talk about a historical event here. So the White Rose movement was a student protest group in 1930s Germany. They were based out of Munich, and I could talk about it forever, and I'm not going to, but I will say in their initial, none of them were Jewish. And they knew enough about what was happening, like late 30s, early 40s. They knew enough about what was happening to know that it was wrong. And in their initial pamphlet, they write that they are speaking out not in spite of being German, but because they are German. And because they believe that being German adheres to this set of ethics, this set of morality, this set of reasons why they need to act. And I think I've been struggling to figure out how to talk about why I feel like Manon needs to get her shit together. And I think it is because of what Astrid says here, which is basically my loyalty is to you and the 13 and to witches, not in spite of being a Blackbeak, but because I am a Blackbeak. And I disagree with what the matron is doing because that is witch morality. And so I think this kind of moment where Astrid, Manon is finally in a place where she can hear it, and Astrid really seizes that moment and is like, this is my fucking tragic backstory. This is who our grandmother is. What does being a witch really mean? And again, I think that Sarah J. Maas is versed in historical resistance. I don't think she's citing the White Rose specifically, but I think like this concept of like, you see this in America as well. Like I'm speaking out against this, not in spite of my identity, but because this is what this means to me. And so I really appreciate the way that this is done in this chapter. I think it's really historically realistic.
And they also got to have this conversation while hanging out in a field of wildflowers. So Abraxas gets another wildflower moment.
Abraxas is truly living his best life. I don't think he can be a contender for best Lil guy because he's not Lil.
He's not Lil. He's big.
But he's Lil compared to the other wyvern.
Who's bigger, Abraxas or Andarna?
Andarna when we meet her or Andarna now?
Like now.
Andarna.
Andarna.
I don't know. I'm asking.
When we meet her, I think Abraxas is bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 65. Back in Rifthold, Rowan wakes up feeling pissy and overprotective, only for Lorcan to crash the party on the roof for some high-stakes bartering. Rowan pulls a classic bait and switch, trading a fake amulet of Orinth for a Volg immune ring, while Aelin serves living flame realness in a gold nightgown. The sexual tension finally snaps as they share a just-once kiss, and Aelin drops the heavy truth that Rowan actually makes her want to live rather than just exist. I don't know if the notes I have are for the right chapter.
There probably are. I told you I was struggling with.
Okay, they are. No, they are. We get some Kale stuff here. And Kale says, regardless of what happened between us, I was a fool to serve the king. And I felt like I had been waiting 4,000 pages for Kale to say that. And then I don't remember, I think this is Kale, who talks about how he didn't want to waste the calm moments. And like, because everything is so fucking crazy that he was like, I wish that I could just like spar with Dorian and like just laugh with Aelin and like just these little things among the chaos. And he's like, I don't want to waste the calm moments. And so he like has a calm moment with what's her name, I think. But right. I liked that because I think that's like a running thread in a lot of these like war is coming books, and so I appreciate that he like said it for us. All right, chapter 66. On the morning of the summer solstice, Aelin is out snagging pastries while she discovers a message written in Volg blood on a city wall that stops her heart. The message says, "Witch killer. The human is still inside him." Aelin, I don't know, I think the notes for this are unnecessary. She flips out. She sprints back to the hill and decides that their mercy kill mission just became a rescue mission. My notes say, fuck yeah. Because I've been said that Dorian's going to be okay.
I also like first time I read this and like savored it so much. Savored like everything from here on out in this book, but like didn't expect it.
I didn't expect that that's how it was going to go. I thought that they were going to get like a glimmer of the real Dorian when they were there, and like no, but it was Manon.
And this is the first moment that you get to be like, fuck yeah, Manon. Like, we see where this is going. This is good.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm so here for it. All right, chapter 67. The dream team gathers in the reeking sewers to prep their hellfire bombs, but the vibes are heavy as they realize they might be saying their final goodbyes. Adian Ash River kneels before his queen with the sword of Orinth, pledging his life to the light after 10 years of shadows. Aelin takes the sword, refuses to cry, and delivers the iconic line, "Let's go rattle the stars." And they split up to take on the glass castle. There are like 10 chapters of build up here, so I'm just going to go and you can tell me when you have stuff to say. Chapter 68, the plan takes a dark, gut-wrenching turn when Kale and Aelin arrive at the glass castle gates, only to find the mutilated corpses of Ress, Brulo, and 16 of Kale's most loyal men hanging as a message. Kale is understandably shattered, but they pivot the plan on the fly to make sure their sacrifice counts. Aelin embraces her Selena Sardothian persona one last time, swaggering up to the guards with a prize, a chained Kale, demanding an argument with the king. Chapter 69, Aelin makes a grand... Aelin makes a grand, weeks early entrance into the glass castle, dragging a captured Kael along as the ultimate Trojan horse. She's rocking word marks drawn in Kael's blood, which is both gross and weirdly intimate, to hide her face sent from the Vault guards. After presenting fake seal rings of Wendelin to the King of Adarlan to prove her loyalty, the mood shifts from tense to oh crap when the king reveals he's known she's Aelin Galathinius all along. It's a classic villain monologue moment that proves our girl might have underestimated just how much the king sees inside people's heads.
Well, he didn't know all along. He knew like right recently because he like monologued a little bit where he was like, "I fucking had you, bitch!" Like, and I should have killed you. Which is cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 70, down in the literal bowels, not literal bowels of the clock tower.
Watery bowels
Rowan
of the clock tower.
and Aelin are having what?
Watery bowels of the clock tower.
Rowan and Aelin are having a much less glamorous time dealing with hellfire and a massive wordstone-induced nosebleeds, both of them. Rowan is basically vibrating with the need to get back to his queen, but Lorcan, the absolute backstabbing prick, it's complicated, has set word hounds on them. So we thought that Lorcan had killed
the word hounds.
But he didn't. He set them up using Rowan's scent. So they try to set the fuse and they realize they're being hunted by the 7 stone-tooth monsters in the dark. It's a high-stakes plumbing job from hell, and the clock is ticking toward a noon deadline that they're going to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 71, the word hounds are putting up a hell of a fight, herding Rowan and Aelin away from the fuse like they're livestock instead of legendary warriors. Rowan is spiraling because noon has officially come and gone, meaning Aelin is currently facing the king with nothing but her human wits and a prayer. So they need it to be noon so that they can blow up the tower so that they can free magic at the moment of the summer solstice. And they're counting on that for Aelin to have her powers.
And what's funny is, like, I don't know, like, so Aelin's with the king and she knows that the whatever, the thing is at noon, and then the bell rings and she's like, well, how do you feel about this now, king? How do you feel about this now, king? And then she's like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like the dog and pony show is now going on for
right.
Aelin.
Like, she's like starting to dance.
I have the monologue.
Right. She's like, watch what I can do.
All right, so Rowan roars with a fury that would be hot if they weren't about to be eaten, especially when Aelin takes a nasty hit that smells like dinner bell to the beasts. It is a desperate, bloody stalemate where the fate of the world rests on a single unlit string.
Again, Aelin is always on the verge of dying.
Yep.
It's his thing. Chapter 72, Aelin attempts to bluff her way through the king's interrogation by flashing the eye of Elena, hoping he's as obsessed with Erowan as he seems. Meanwhile, poor Kael finally drops the act and draws Damaris, standing his ground against the king, while Aelin leads a possessed Dorian on a high-speed chase through the castle. The king is busy being a total deadbeat dad, lashing Dorian with darkness just to see Aelin wince. It's a mess of trauma and bad parenting, and Kael is left to buy them time while the clock tower remains stubbornly upright past noon. Chapter 73, Aelin is hurtling through the glass hallways like her life depends on it, because it does, and Dorian charges after her like a literal black storm. The crown prince is spewing hoarfrost and threats about destroying everything she loves, which is a real mood killer for their former friendship. She skids and bleeds her way up the turrets, desperate to reach the specific glass bridge they picked for their final stand. She eventually flings herself through a window just to stay one step ahead of the ice-cold demon inhabiting her friend's handsome face.
The good/bad part about all of this, as we said in Oakwald, it was like, oh, all of our friends are here. And now we're back in the moment where it's like all of our friends are in different places, and it's too much happening all at once.
I wrote, I can't believe how much is going on. Come on, Sarah. It's like it feels like each chapter is leading us to a climax,
right?
But there's like 4 different climaxes happening, and so I'm like,
This is like an hour and a half plus of reading that you cannot stop.
Yeah,
you're like, I have to read this whole thing at once.
It's really nuts. All right. Chapter 74, on the glass bridge, Aelin is getting absolutely shredded by Dorian's ice magic. Taking a literal dagger to the side while begging for her friend to come back to her. Just as things look fatal, Lorcan decides to stop being a villain for 5 seconds to help Rowan and Aelin light the hellfire. I don't remember when we find out, but he does it for Aelin, not for Rowan. He does it for Gabriel, because Aelin is Gabriel.
Right. He's like, you didn't tell me that
I want
Aelin was here.
I want you to know before you get to it, before you're like, wait, that just doesn't happen. In like chapter 80 something of our notes, which is why one thing that took me forever to do, it's going to say something like Gabriel sees Aelin, which is not what happens. It's Lorcan. I actually had to go into the chapter and look about it. It's Lorcan meeting Aelin and being like, you look like Gabriel. So when you read that, know the name's wrong.
Know that's what's happening. Cool. All right. Okay, the clock tower explodes, sending a ripple through the world that finally brings the magic freed moment we've been waiting for. No, I don't like the way it says this.
Right.
We're in a fight and the chapter ends. It's like, and he got mauled by a fucking ghost leopard.
Yeah.
It is.
Our other girl is here.
I am a Lysandra stan. I'm obsessed with her. I want all the merch. I love her so much.
I think we're about to. I don't know the notes. I haven't looked at them because I was just trying to get to us. I don't know if it happens in the next chapter, but I really love the way that it's described on when the towers go down. Like you get it from Manon's perspective. Like,
right.
She sees the ripple. Then
even the lead in the dungeon,
right?
Like feels the ripple.
But then like while they're fighting, they hear screams, right, of people. And they think it's like the Volg, but it's fucking Lysandra as a ghost leopard.
Ghost leopard. Okay. Chapter 75. With magic back in the air, Aelin heals her own wounds instantly, looking like an absolute goddess, while the solstice sun hits the bridge at the perfect angle. She uses the distraction to slip Athral's ring onto Dorian's finger, which acts like a magical branding iron against the demon inside him. As the light of Mala Firebringer fills the castle, Aelin hurls her own flames at the prince, not to hurt him, but to drown out the screaming darkness. It is a high-octane rescue mission where fire meets ice, and for a split second, the real Dorian finally looks out through his own eyes. Chapter 76, the King of Adarlan crashes the party on the bridge, smugly claiming that he's already killed Chaol. And he says, my one regret is that I did not get to take my time. And I would like to point out the parallel that when Cassian is about to die, in A Court of the Pink cover, he says to Nesta, my one regret is that we did not have time. Anyway, he claims he's already killed Chaol. Wrong move, buddy. Hearing about the death of his best friend is the final push Dorian needs to reclaim his body, and his eyes start burning like stars with pure, unadulterated rage. In a moment of absolute girl boss energy for the boys, Dorian reaches up and literally snaps the Wordstone collar off his own neck with a roar. The demons evicted, the collar's in pieces. The king is about to find out exactly what happens when you mess with a Galathinius and a Haviliard at the same time. It's awesome.
It's so good.
Chapter 77. Aelin throws up a shield of fire that would make a dragon jealous, while the King of Adarlan tries to fold himself into the darkness like a literal nightmare. Our favorite royals join hands and go full newborn god, combining their fire and starlight to incinerate the king's evil power into absolute nothingness. Rowan shifts into a white-tailed hawk to reach the spires just in time to see the king drop to his knees and beg Aelin Galathinius to save him from his own mess. Chapter 78. The King of Adarlan decides now is a great time for an I was possessed trauma dump, revealing that Parrington is actually the Volg big bad Erowan. He claims he built the towers to suppress magic and hide Dorian's power from the Volg, which is some truly toxic tier parenting logic. Aelin realizes her parents were murdered by Volg, while the king begs her to use her wildfire to cleanse him and finally end his life. Dorian isn't buying the apology tour and lets out a god-tier roar that shatters the entire glass castle into a million flying shards.
Again, we've had so much action that's happening and so many just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then we have this moment that, for me at least, made my jaw drop.
Me too.
It's like, holy crap, like, yes, the king has this whole backstory that we didn't realize. And it's, yes, the toxic parenting of like, I did this to save you. But just feels absolutely insane. Mind blown.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this at all. I don't know. Parrington was like a tier above a throwaway for me. You know, I really wasn't too concerned about him. So to find out he's been Erowan the whole time is pretty crazy. I thought they did an amazing job of making, like, again, like, she does these, the way she writes is she does these things where it's like directly in our face and somehow we don't even see it, where it's like, if the rule is if you're wearing a ring and you're controlled, we knew that the king was wearing a ring. Why didn't we just assume he was controlled?
1,000%.
Right.
You know, like, what?
So it's so interesting. I didn't think that, I knew that Parrington was bad.
Right.
I think I thought that he was maybe like equal to the king and that they were working together. Like, I didn't think that he was controlled by the king, but I didn't think the king was controlled by him. I thought they were like working together to raise Erowan, and like maybe there would be some kind of showdown between the two of them for like who would be the guy. I definitely didn't call that the Duke was like the guy all along. But I was like, particularly in this book, I was like, the Duke is a bigger bad than we thought he was. So I was always like, oh, he's terrible to women. He's terrible to Kaltain. But he's definitely a big bad.
Oh yeah.
Well, I felt it was the trio of the king, Parrington, and Vernon, because we've also seen Vernon be a much bigger bad than anticipated,
Right.
Particularly in these later chapters. But never would have anticipated that he's, again, like hiding in plain sight the entire time.
I find it interesting that he was able to do that to the king with just a ring and not a collar. So I think that's kind of like an interesting.
Well, I don't know if the king has magic.
But he does the shadow stuff. Is that just Volg stuff?
I think it's Volg stuff. I think.
Okay.
I think it's Volg stuff. I don't know if the king has actually I don't know. But I really love this backstory for the king. Like, I mean, it's so weird. Like, the king is an evil character, right? But like, the real king isn't, you know? And it's, I told this to Amanda yesterday, like, we can sympathize. So like, if we didn't get those chapters of Dorian, like fighting the Volg, and we just got it from the perspective of like going to the prisoner and killing them and ripping them to shreds, we think he's evil, right? We don't get those inner monologues with the king for the most part, and to see how he was fighting it and trying to fight it. You know, he says that he tried to die. Like, he went to Aelin to try to be killed. You know, he tried to save Dorian, and he had just been trying to fight it this whole time, which is crazy to me, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm still struggling with like how to articulate this. I did think that, because Rick asked me after I read this, he was like, what do you think? And I was like, I felt like Dorian felt, where I was like, I don't know if I believe you. And it actually doesn't matter if you're telling the truth, because you still have to die.
Yes. Yes.
So I struggle with, like, I understand that he isn't the demon. Like, I understand that he was like possessed by a different force, and that he was like grappling with that, and that he, you know, tried to kind of, not that he tried to do the right thing, but he tried to like mitigate the harm, and like the long-term harm. But like,
he had to die.
He had to die. And so I had said a few episodes ago, like, if there is a bigger bad, I don't want to meet him. And I think what I think what I meant was, like, I don't want there to be some like ultimate shadow bad guy who kills the king and then is like, and then we're like in book 5 being like, oh man, I miss the king, and that level of evil. This is not what I meant. I just want to be clear that I like this.
So when you had said that, I also thought you were going to like this, because like, the king was never the bad guy. It's always been like, Erowan was the one who killed the slaves in Endovier. Like, it's always been Erowan.
It's always been Erowan, and the fact that the king was just like a
The puppet,
vessel
yeah.
for that. Yeah, like I do like that. I just want to be clear that like I think what I meant was like I'm
I
not
know what you meant.
interested in the atrocity Olympics and being
Right.
like, oh, I miss when we were just, I don't know, assaulting Kaltain and murdering slaves. Like nothing. Every life is a world, and the king has ended a lot of worlds, and it wasn't him, but he was the vessel for that, and
Right.
so like he can't come back from that. He's got to die.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we? Okay. Chapter 79. As the glass castle turns into a literal tidal wave of debris, Aelin uses her wildfire to shield Rifthold from certain death because our girl saves the city even when it hates her. She lands like a badass queen and finds Dorian and Kale alive. Thanks to the eye of Elena, she's snuck into the captain's pocket for the chaos.
She has a superhero drop.
She does. Aelin then climbs onto the gallows, which is like, what a crazy, to inform the crowd that she's Queen of Terrasen, slavery is canceled, Dorian is king, and if they're not nice to King Dorian, she will melt the glass and destroy everything. She's like, I'm in charge until Dorian wakes up. Don't fuck with my friend or I will kill you. Incredible.
And everybody's like, oh, okay.
Everyone's like, bet. All right. Chapter 80. Over at Morath, Aelin is having the worst staycation ever since her uncle Vernon tries to set her up with a demon-possessed Cormac for experimentation. I was like literally nauseous reading this. Because I was like, I know that it's going to be okay, but I don't know if Aelin is going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that this book will end with the world being saved. Like this series will end with the world being saved. But I know that we're going to lose a lot of battles along the way. And so as Aelin is in this position, I'm like, is she going to get out okay?
Right. Is this Sorcha or...
Yes.
I will say that this moment, there's another moment in this series, and then there's a moment in Crescent City where I'm like, similarly, I'm like, I don't know how we're getting out of this. It's literally impossible. I guess it started with that throne room scene with Sorcha. We can't get out of this. So yeah.
And I think also like, I'm like, is how far are things going to go with Cormac before she gets rescued is the other thing that like I'm worried. Because she's already got such a fucking awful backstory. All right.
But as we get into this, though, these next 3 chapters are like my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
And the ending of this book is so insane. All right. Manon returns to find the girl missing and realizes her room is cold and empty, which sends the wing leader into full-on Iron Tooth rage. With magic freed, Manon is moving at supersonic speeds. We don't know like what the witch's magic deal is. So this is like our first sense of like, all right, well, they can move fast. To find the girl, proving she's grown quite fond of her favorite human. Hybrid human, half human. She gathers the 13 for a rescue mission because when one witch is mad, they're all coming. Chapter 81, Manon goes on a dungeon crawl from hell.
With Carl.
Shredding guards with her iron nails like she's opening a particularly difficult Amazon package. Dude, Gemini, I know she struggled, but these are great. She finds Aelin just as the guards are getting handsy and makes them regret their life choices by snapping spines and ripping throats. Just as they prepare to flee the Morath dungeons, they run into a very gaunt Kaltain who looks like she's ready to burn the whole place down. Spoiler, she is ready to burn the whole place down. She realizes that protecting the weak isn't a weakness, deciding that her 13 are no one's slaves. Chapter 82, Kaltain pulls, this isn't, girl boss is like not even the word.
No.
She gives Aelin.
Girl god.
She cuts her arm open, takes the word key out of her arm, gives it to Aelin, says, find Selena Sardothian, remind her to punish them all. Then she unleashes Shadowfire, destroys the catacombs and all of its monsters. Manon tosses a lead onto Abraxos. They fly away. The whole fortress explodes in a glorious middle finger to the Duke, incinerating the airy tower and everything evil within it. Kaltain goes out in a literal blaze of glory, finally finding freedom in the ash. This is sick.
Mm-hmm. This is just like absolute peak. S tier, Sarah J. Maas here.
I find Kaltain the most, like, one of the most interesting characters I've ever read. I mean, since the moment we met her, I feel like I've been like, dude, the world sucks for her.
Yeah.
Like, the opium, the headaches, like the way the Duke was manipulating her, the way that she like poisoned Selena, the way that she was in the dungeons, the way that they were continually assaulting her in the dungeons, the way she was literally holding the word key, like all of these things. And then when we find out that she's been eating the demon.
And basically waiting for her moment to,
And man, she takes the moment.
And I love how, like, it was, and it happens. Oh, I'm having like forward connecting dots. There's a lot of little moments that are really important. So like the reason why she did this is because she says, give this to Selena Sardothian, remind her that I didn't. No, not even that. Not even that. She said, remind her that I remember about the cloak she gave me to stay warm.
Yes. And that she couldn't save the cloak, but she saved a piece of it. And so she gives Aelin the piece of the cloak.
And it's like,
who the fuck is Selena Sardothian?
And it's like
it's so funny because she was the one that was like, we got to find Aelin.
Right. I wonder how that's going to happen. But like, we'll see it later, but like little acts of kindness really turn into these grand.
They matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They matter.
Yeah.
It's so, God, it's so good. People like ACOTAR because they like Rhys. People like Throne of Glass because it's excellent.
Yeah.
Like, I have no hate towards ACOTAR. It is the gateway drug of the genre. Like, it is Rhys's, I think, the king of shadow daddies. I have already said in this episode, There You Are, I've Been Looking for You is one of my favorite moments. Obviously, chapter 55 changed our lives. This series, we're not done, and it's better. It's no contest. It's just a better story.
Yeah.
It's also a lot longer.
Right.
Anyway, all right. Where
is
are
it a
we?
lot longer?
It is.
Yeah.
A lot longer?
It won't be by the time.
Well, no. Because like,
well, yes, because all of Throne of Glass is one story, and all of Throne of Glass is longer than the ACOTAR trilogy.
Oh, see, I was considering Silver Flames.
And I know we're getting more, but like,
all right, no, that's my question.
Recent Feyre's story is 3 books, and then she can write in this universe forever.
Like, I know Throne of Glass is longer, but I'm like, is it a lot longer? Like, I don't remember. I don't actually. No, but it doesn't matter. Continue.
Well, listeners, do the math and tell us the answer. All right. Chapter 83. After Aelin takes a well-deserved 3-day snooze, Lysandra shows her loyalty by literally vomiting black blood. This is so funny. All over Lord. She's like, oh, sorry, it didn't agree with my ghost leopard tummy.
Didn't agree with her human tummy.
Didn't agree
with her ghost leopard tummy.
When he tries to barge into the queen's room, Rowan broods by her bedside like a protective territorial fey beast until she wakes up. Finally, they share a kiss that basically resets the universe. Aedion walks in on the heavy petting and gets door slammed in his face by a gust of Rowan's wind, which is the ultimate occupied sign. Meanwhile, Lorcan slinks off with a word key ring, completely unaware that Aelin lets him walk away with a win while she kept the real amulet of Ornth. 84. Dorian wakes up free from the collar but completely hollow, grappling with the trauma of shattering the castle and his own father. Aelin visits the new King of Adarlan and gives him a friendship pep talk, telling him it's time to light up the darkness. Kale also wakes up.
Light it up.
Yeah, we get a lot of like Aelin, like the rattle the stars, the light it up, like giving him stuff that people have been telling her, which is good. Kale also wakes up but realizes his spine is broken, so he's paralyzed from the waist down for now. Dorian appoints Nezrin Falik as the first female captain of the guard. Great. Again, I don't have space in my brain to care about Nezrin. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I know she's like the second most important character in Tower of Dawn. I just like don't care right now. The third most important character in Tower of Dawn, because Irene's going to show up.
I also don't love Nezrin, so she's
I
fine.
just don't care about her.
I think that's kind of how I feel too. So.
We didn't talk about the fact that she has like a Hawkeye moment though.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
this is the Avengers. He's like up on a turret. It's just it's
like,
I mean, that part's good.
Yeah.
She's fine. I just like Hawkeye.
She is fine.
I don't care about her.
Agreed.
Sorry, Jeremy Renner. All right, so she's captain of the guard. Kale is being shipped off to the southern continent for magical healing at the Tori Sesme. It is a bittersweet new beginning, but at least they got each other and a lot of new adventure in the future. This is sweet, like the Dorian and Kale reunion, and Dorian basically being like, you never gave up on me, and Kale being like, and I never will, and like, it's very sweet. Chapter 85. After hitching a ride with a 13, Aelin finds herself in Oakwald with a heavy heart and an even heavier word key shard clutched in her fist. Manon drops the bombshell that the King of Adarlan is toast, and Aelin Galathinius is currently rebuilding Rifthold. Aelin, we've used the word girl boss too much. Aelin is like sobbing. She's overjoyed. Our favorite wing leader goes soft for a second, unlocking Aelid's shackles and giving her the ultimate starter pack for a solo quest north to Terrasen. As Abraxas flies away, Aelin sets off to find Selena Sardothian, proving that even with a limp, she's ready to fight for her future instead of running from it. Meanwhile, back in Rifthold, in Chapter 86, Aelin is busy packing her trunks and making life-changing power moves by appointing Lysandra as the Lady of a Northern Territory. It's so good. She presents her friends with a custom ring engraved with a ghost leopard. I need Lysandra's jeweler. There's so much magical and important jewelry in this book. And I guess we like get a little bit of that in Assassin's Blade about how Selena loves the finer things in life. And so like we're getting a lot of jewelry. But it's nice.
Yeah, Selena,
anyway.
Lysandra's got a guy. She's like, oh, you need a fake thing? I got that.
Not a guy.
Also, this guy is like the unsung hero of this whole book. He's with everybody. He's the one playing 10D chess.
I'd read a novella about him. All right. Reminding her that she finally holds her own freedom, which is enough to make any shapeshifter emotional. I loved this part so much. Later, Dorian stops by for a court dinner, looking like the living dead, but still managing to toast to a new world and freedom with his favorite group of rebels. It's a rare moment of peace where Aelin, Rowan, Adian, and the new Lady Lysandra are finally masters of their own messy fates. Chapter 87, the mood at Morath is considerably less festive since Duke Parrington and Vernon somehow managed to survive the blast. Hate that for us.
Yep.
Though a third of their stronghold is smoldering ash, Manon takes a moment to literally dig her nails into Vernon, purring a threat that Aelin Galathinius has a serious score to settle with him. While they wait for their grandmother to arrive with more witch towers, Manon and Asterin have a deep heart-to-heart about what it's like to love, which apparently feels a lot like dying and being unmade. The Iron Teeth are officially catching feelings and questioning their monstrous nature, proving that even immortal killers can change their stripes. Is this when... No. Chapter 88. Aelin tries to visit Elena's tomb for one last round of questioning, but finds the way blocked by rebels. She's a little worried about Mort.
Yeah.
But is also like, it's okay if Mort died this way, which is fine. Anyway, it's probably for the best since she wanted to bite the Ancient Queen's head off. She has a final tear-jerking meeting with Dorian and Kale, who's in a wheelchair, appointing the former captain as the ambassador for Terrasen to the Southern Continent.
He's the hand of the king.
He's the hand of the king to Dorian, and he's the ambassador to the Southern Continent for Terrasen, because Terrasen and the new Adarlan are allies.
Yep.
Kale returns the Eye of Elena, noting it only activated because of his courage of heart, which is just wholesome enough to hurt. As Aelin, Rowan, and the court ride out of Rifthold at dawn, Dorian spots Manon and Abraxas flying over the city in the middle of the night, sharing a silent knowing look that says, "See you at the next apocalypse." Chapter 89. The journey north to Terrasen takes 3 grueling weeks, filled with campfires, Evangeline and Fleetfoot's antics, and a whole lot of sexual tension between Aelin and Rowan. Aelin is dying for just one goddamn night with her Fey Prince, but since they don't dare stop at an inn, she's stuck with Lysandra's teasing and Rowan's very distracting neck nuzzling. I love Lysandra is playing with her shifting. So she's a black dog, frolicking along Fleetfoot. She is a crow who's flying with Rowan, and she loves being a ghost leopard.
Yeah,
I love it for her. All right. After weeks of being sweaty, dirty, and cranky, the group finally crests a hill to see the jagged Staghorn Mountains and the lush valleys of their homeland. Rowan says he's been looking for this place his whole life. Aelin is struck by its scent of pine and snow, which she realizes has been Rowan's scent all along, which is the only thing in this book that made me cry. And Aelin steps past a granite boulder onto her own soil, and finally, she's officially home.
We did it, Joe.
5 stars.
Yeah. 5 stars.
Great. 5 stars.
I've been saying it since we restarted the city.
Yeah.
Restarted the series that this was my favorite book.
I remember I asked in the beginning, I was like, which book is your favorite? And Rick was like, well, it's got to be Kingdom of Ash. And I was like, okay, but if we take Kingdom of Ash out, which one is it? And he thought about it and he said Queen of Shadows.
Yeah. No, because I knew you had said it. You had already, I think you said it yesterday, and it was why I said we need to stop here. Throne of Glass is, it's not too, it's one story, but this is a stopping point. Like, it culminated, and there is still a big bad to deal with, but we won for now.
We can breathe.
Right.
And our friends are all going off in their own way right now.
Yeah. Like we're in a moment of calm. And everyone has
we know what our next step is right now.
Yes. And everyone has experienced grief and trauma, but like our friends are alive.
I don't think like nobody like this isn't a thing. It's just what I call it in my head. Like this part of the story is the King arc, and the next one is the Erowan arc.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they're like, obviously the next arc is connected, but like the way that this ends is just like amazing.
Yeah, I can't think of an example of another story that does this, but I know that it happens, that we like get a moment where a story doesn't end on a cliffhanger and ends kind of as a like pause. But I don't know what it is. Maybe it's episode 4 of Star Wars.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, also like the first Lord of the Rings for the most part.
Yeah.
You know? Like not Two Tower, but like the first Lord of the Rings.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like A New Hope, but not Empire.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because A New Hope ends with the medals, right?
Mm-hmm. The ceremony.
Yeah. And so it's like, we know bad stuff is happening, but right now our friends are here.
And we did it.
Yeah. 5 stars, kissy face emoji. Can't wait for the soup. I get it. I get why they're not boning en route to Terrasen, but I feel for her, man.
Which thank goodness they're not, because like later Sarah would probably have them boning along the way, and then like everyone who has now followed in Sarah's footsteps would have had them boning like every other moment.
Yeah,
they would have had like sky boning and like all kinds of other stuff, which we have seen in later SJM.
Yeah,
is that Cassian?
No, that's Reese.
Is that Reese? Okay.
Although the likelihood that Cassian and
Nesta
have fucked in the sky is like
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 5 stars, kissy face emoji. It's a good time to take a little break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to ask you what's going to happen next.
I don't know.
So
I have a lot of questions. I'm excited to see where things go. I love all of our friends. I think I really love our little guys. I love Abraxas. I love Fleetfoot. Rip Mort. But like he served his purpose. I really love the women and how they overcome their circumstances in different ways. I love that they don't all survive. I love that, both Nehemia and Kaltain have both died kind of for the cause. And I think that's really important.
Well, so did Sorcha too. I mean, she was getting all
she
the
was a
letters.
rebel. She was willing to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like too is like this book has moments of closure. I'm thinking specifically of Sam.
Yeah.
So like the whole series at this point for Selena, I guess, has been defined by how she missed Sam. She said goodbye, and she's basically moved on now, which I think is great. You know, like we had our moment with him, and she is allowed to move on.
Yeah. I mean, when you lose the love of your life at age 18 or whatever, you should be able to get a new love of your life because you got a lot of life left.
Yeah, no, but and I like seeing it. Is what I'm
I
saying.
like it.
You know?
Yeah, I like it too.
I also appreciate that we have lost 3 big characters here, as you said, Nehemia, Sorcha, and Kaltain. And you said like they all sort of died for the cause, but in terms of sort of like literary arc, they all died to actually really propel the story forward.
Yeah.
So they're not unnecessary deaths or just sensationalized in any way.
Yes.
Like these were really serious and have really shaped how characters respond as
Right.
they continue on.
Yeah, and add Sam.
Yeah,
and
Sam too. And Wesley, like
Wesley to that list.
All right. What do you so 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars, kissy face emoji. What have you been reading?
I finished The Astral Library by Kate Quinn. I love when a book is a book. This book is 50 books. I gave it 4.5 stars because it's not like, I don't know, it's not like great literature, but I really enjoyed it. It's the kind of book I could see myself rereading. I had a good time. I think if you want like a silly, fun fantasy that doesn't leave you feeling a lot of feelings, but like lets you kind of escape from the world, I think you should read it. I had a good time. 4.5.
All right.
Oh, and I'm listening to Common Goal, which is the 4th book in the Game Changers series.
Kimberly Lord.
I finished Project Hail Mary that I had been reading last week when we recorded also. I think I gave it 4.5 also. I had mentioned this last time that Andy Weir just really loves science. And so sometimes you just kind of have to like read and let it wash over you. Because he's like super deep into math and all these things. And I'm just like, this is great for you. I really love that you're enthusiastic about this. But story was awesome. I am now excited to see the movie when it comes on streaming. And I hope it is actually as good as the book, and all the reviews say that it is. So I'm excited.
Yeah, our students haven't shut up about it all week.
Yeah.
There you go. And then I read our chapters for Direbound. And then I've been bookholed because I really liked Project Hail Mary, and then I love this book, and so we finished this, and then we started Direbound, and I was like, God damn it, I just want to keep reading Direbound. So I haven't read anything else.
Well, you have 7 days to read 2 books of Dungeon Crawler Carl, so have fun.
I know.
I recommend the Astral Library as a palate cleanser if you need one.
Thank you.
I am reading Kingdom of Claw, which is the next book in Kingdom of Claw, which is the next book in the Road of Bones series, our Viking Iceland Romantasy. It did a thing. Well, we introduced a new character, so we're getting like another sort of POV. I'm like, not that it's bad. It's just like I'm gonna need a bit to like learn who you are and like you, which is instantly probably gonna like drop this to a 4 for me, no matter what, because like I have to learn who you are. I'm sure it's gonna be great. But I don't know if I mentioned in the first one, but I like that they did in this one. In the first one, one of the guy is like, he has a horse, and the female main character is like, "What's your horse's name?" He's like, "Horse," and she's like, "I don't understand." He's like, It's a horse. His name is Horse. So she gets a horse in this one, and the horse's name is Brown Horse. She names it Brown Horse, which is hysterical.
I love that.
Yeah. All right. So, what are we reading next, Amanda?
We are reading Direbound by Sable Sorensen. We're very excited. We are reading Direbound in preparation for the sequel Furybound, which is coming out in a few weeks. And so your homework is to read chapters 1 through 18. Is that
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Of Direbound. I'm about halfway through. Both Rick and Kim have finished
It's good.
chapters.
Spoiler, it's good.
Yeah, I'm having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually going to record that episode tomorrow.
In our real time.
In our real time. So we're just so you all know, because I have to go travel with students again, we're going to be a little
ahead.
You're going to be hearing episodes for the next 3 weeks that we recorded
1 week ahead,
a week earlier. So we apologize in advance if our current events are not so current. Guys, they came back from the moon.
They did.
And they're back.
They, like, with alarming accuracy. Go women.
Go women.
That's the theme of this podcast, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with it. I love women. And if you're going to BookCon next week, shoot us an email and we'll hang out because we're going to BookCon.
We'll be there on Sunday. We've got some signings. We're going to some panels. We'll have stickers. Rick and I both have gags. Kim has a little chomper. So I guess we all kind of have gags.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're going to BookCon, shoot us an email and we can communicate through email and say hello.
Yeah. We do have stickers to hand out to our adoring fans if anybody is there.
Yeah. And the following year after that, we'll get a booth.
Hell yeah. Or at least a press pass.
Yes, the press pass. That's what we need.
They didn't give press passes this year, but we didn't talk about this now. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.